All right, ready to dive in. We're tackling 101 ways to market your business today. And, this whole deep dive is really about like getting to the good stuff, like
Yeah,
those practical things you can actually use even if you don't have a ton of money to throw around.
absolutely. Think of us as your marketing filter. We're going to sift through all the ideas and give you that like concentrated dose of marketing wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. And I gotta say, this book it was surprisingly funny in some parts. Remember that story about the smoking cessation campaign that like totally backfired because their customer service was so awful?
Oh yeah, classic example of like how important it is to, to walk the walk. Your marketing can be amazing, but if your customer experience is terrible, it's all for nothing.
So true. But before we jump into like specific tactics and stuff, I think it's cool how this book starts with the why behind marketing. There's a section called What is a Successful Business?
Yeah.
And it's not what you'd expect.
Yeah, you'd think it would just jump right into like marketing strategies. But instead, it focuses on, well, you, like your mindset as a business owner, and talks about the importance of uh, things like a positive attitude, being organized,
Hmm.
even taking time to relax and recharge.
That's like a self-help guide for entrepreneurs.
I know, right?
Right.
But I think there's a really important connection there. See, it's not just about like slapping together a marketing campaign. It's about cultivating the kind of energy that attracts customers. A business owner who's like well-rounded and has a positive outlook, that's magnetic. It affects everything you do, from, how you interact with customers to how you present your brand.
That's such a cool way to think about it. Marketing is an extension of like your whole approach to business.
Exactly. It's about authenticity.
Okay, so we've got the mindset piece. What about the more like practical stuff?
Well, knowing your numbers is huge. Yeah. The book is really big on that.
Yeah, right. And it talks about two key figures you need to have, crystal clear in your mind. First, like how much business do you actually need to survive, right? To cover all those essential costs.
Exactly. That's your baseline. And then you need to figure out like how much business you want to achieve your profit goals. It's about setting your sights higher than just, keeping the lights on.
So knowing those numbers gives you a target to aim for with your marketing, right?
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of it. Instead of, just throwing things out there and hoping something sticks, you can make strategic decisions about where to invest your time and resources.
Makes total sense. So we've got the right mindset, clear financial goals. What's next?
Well, in a crowded market,
Yeah.
it's not enough to just, exist.
Yeah.
You got to stand out. And the book spends a lot of time on differentiation.
Yeah. It uses that example of Federal Express and their slogan, absolutely, positively overnight. So simple, but it instantly tells you what they're all about and why they're different.
It's brilliant. They took something that could be like really complicated overnight delivery and they boiled it down to a memorable phrase that promised, you know, reliability and speed.
Yeah, and the book talks about using strong words like biggest, freshest, guaranteed to emphasize what makes you unique.
It's about finding that one word that really resonates with your ideal customer and embodies your unique selling proposition. That's what sets you apart.
Okay, so we've got differentiation down. What about keeping those customers coming back for more?
Customer loyalty. That's a big one, and for good reason.
Yeah, it might seem counterintuitive, but the book argues that it's actually like cheaper to keep a current customer happy than it is to find a new one.
Absolutely. And the book offers some pretty creative approaches to cultivating loyalty.
Hmm.
Like think about those reminder notices you get from dentists or mechanics.
Right. It's a gentle nudge that can be really effective, especially for those services that people tend to forget about.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be boring. The book even mentions a mechanic who sends out like scented Christmas tree air fresheners as reminders. Talk about creative.
So smart. It creates such a positive association. But reminders are just one piece of the puzzle. The book also talks about finding creative ways to say thank you.
Yes, it's about showing genuine appreciation. Little personalized gifts, handwritten thank you notes, those small gestures can make a big difference. It shows your customer that you value their business.
And of course, there are loyalty programs,
Mm.
but the book pushes you to make them, truly rewarding.
Right. Not just a flimsy point system, but something that offers real value and incentivizes repeat business. It's about making your customers feel like VIPs.
Now, this next one is something the book is clearly passionate about, harnessing the power of word of mouth marketing.
Ah, yes. the holy grail of marketing.
Yeah.
Authentic recommendations from others are incredibly persuasive.
Mhm.
But how do you get people talking about your business?
Well, the book throws out a ton of ideas for generating buzz, from writing press releases to entering industry awards.
Even if you don't win an award, just being nominated can boost your credibility and get your name out there.
And it's about being creative. Like, they suggest partnering with local radio stations for regular segments related to your field.
That's a great way to position yourself as an expert and reach a wider audience. And then, of course, there's the simplest, most powerful form of word of mouth, encouraging your existing customers to spread the word.
It's as easy as asking. A happy customer is often more than willing to recommend your business to their friends and family. Okay, now for the part that I was really excited about, the book's take on unconventional marketing tactics.
This is where we see the author's playful side come out.
Mhm.
It's all about thinking outside the box and grabbing attention, especially if you're working with, a limited budget.
Right, like they talk about the potential of wacky promotions, the kind of stuff that makes people stop and stare, or using like inflatable toys as giant gorillas or wacky waving tube men to draw a crowd.
It's about creating a spectacle, something memorable.
They even suggest using a spruiker, those folks with microphones who try to draw you into stores. You got to be mindful of local regulations with that one, though. Not everyone appreciates a microphone in their face.
True. But it's definitely effective. And speaking of effective, how about trying to get your business into the Guinness Book of World Records?
Now that's thinking big. Imagine the publicity.
Right. And they actually give an example of like a pie company that got a ton of press coverage by hosting a free pie day and raising money for charity. It's about finding a creative angle that aligns with your brand.
Okay, before we go too far down the wacky marketing rabbit hole, the book also brings it back to the essentials. And this one is so important, making it super easy for people to buy from you.
Right. It's about removing any friction in the buying process.
They're really big on offering free phone and fax numbers. It might seem simple, but it can make a difference, especially if you're, targeting a wider geographic area.
It shows you value your customer's time. And psychologically, it can give you an edge over your competitors.
The book also emphasizes making the purchasing process itself super smooth.
Think online options, multiple payment methods, anything that makes it easy for people to just say yes.
And offering gift vouchers, a simple way to boost sales, get people to try your products, and even bring in new customers through gift giving.
Gift vouchers are a win-win.
Okay, let's move on to another key area, making your promotional materials stand out.
Right, because even with great ideas, execution is everything. You don't want a poorly designed brochure undermining all your hard work.
The book is full of wisdom on this, but here's what really struck me. They say you should spend the most time crafting a bold, attention-grabbing headline.
Because that's what's going to hook people in. It's the first impression, and it needs to make a statement.
And it's not just about being catchy. It's about conveying your unique selling proposition and using language that resonates with your ideal customer.
Okay, I'm curious to hear more about this. What are some other tips the book offers for crafting, like killer brochures and flyers?
Well, they have this cool idea about using the back of your business card like a mini brochure.
Oh, that's clever. You could pack in so much more information that way.
You could like highlight a special offer or list testimonials, even use it for a loyalty program, with stamps or punches. Turns a simple card into something way more engaging.
I love that.
Yeah.
And the best part is business cards are like relatively cheap to print, right? So you can get creative with the design.
Absolutely. And then the key is to distribute them everywhere. Leave them at shops, hand them out at events, include them with every order. Just maximize those touch points.
Yeah, like planting little seeds of opportunity everywhere you go. Okay, so business cards. What about something that's, essential for any business these days, a website?
Ah, yes. Your digital storefront. The book talks about how important it is to have a strong online presence, and a website is the foundation of that. It's funny because years ago, building a website felt so daunting and expensive. But the book makes it clear that it doesn't have to be, complicated.
There are tons of user-friendly platforms and affordable templates out there. You can even buy a pre-designed website and just fill in the blanks.
That's perfect for people who aren't tech savvy. It takes away that intimidation factor.
Exactly. And once you've got your website up and running, you can start exploring other online marketing like banner ads.
Those rectangular ads you see on websites. I gotta admit, I kind of tune those out sometimes. Do they actually work?
They can, if you're strategic about it. The key is to place your ads on websites that your target audience is already visiting. So if you're selling, say, gardening supplies, you wouldn't advertise on a gaming website, right?
Right, right. It's all about putting your message in front of the right people.
Precisely. Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about uniforms.
Uniforms.
Yeah, like the power of a professional appearance.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. The book talks about how putting your staff in uniforms can, like, instantly boost their credibility.
Exactly. Think about it. Would you trust a doctor who showed up in sweatpants?
Probably not. So it's the same principle for any business, right? Well-presented staff, smart uniforms, it sends a message that you're professional.
And trustworthy. It's about projecting an image of competence.
And it doesn't have to be expensive either, right? The book suggests starting small, maybe with matching shirts and name tags.
Even those small touches can make a difference. It
Yeah.
shows you pay attention to the details.
Speaking of details, this next tip is about maximizing something we often take for granted: packaging.
Ooh, I like that. Tell me more.
If you're already using packaging for your products, right? Why not use it as a chance to promote your business?
Yeah. Turn a functional element into a marketing asset.
Exactly. You could print your company slogan on the wrapping paper or list your trading hours, even include like special offers or coupons.
It's about extending that customer experience and creating a lasting impression.
And it's a way to reach potential customers who might see your packaging, even if they don't, actually buy the product. It's all about brand awareness.
Turning your packaging into a mini billboard.
Okay, so one of the things that really resonated with me was how much the book emphasizes going beyond like just basic customer service.
Yeah, it's about building genuine loyalty, nurturing those relationships.
And they have some really creative ideas, like remember those reminder notices we talked about?
Oh, yeah. The Christmas tree air fresheners. Brilliant.
Mm.
Practical and delightful.
They also talk about the importance of like staying in touch with your customers even when they're not actively buying.
Right. Keeping your business top of mind. Think newsletters, updates about new products or services, even remembering important dates like birthdays.
Yeah, a little birthday card can go a long way.
And don't underestimate the power of, referrals. Happy customers are your best advocates.
The book encourages you to actually ask for referrals. Sometimes people just need a little nudge.
It's true.
Huh.
And sometimes a little incentive helps.
And of course, there's the simple but powerful act of saying thank you in, meaningful ways.
Yeah, go beyond the basic thanks for your business. Handwritten notes, personalized gifts, even certificates of appreciation, those gestures can make a real impact.
It's about making your customers feel, seen and valued.
Exactly. And that's what keeps them coming back.
Okay, we've talked about like keeping those customers happy, but what about attracting new ones? The book has some really interesting ideas about that, especially when it comes to thinking outside the box.
Oh, yeah. This is where the author's playful side really shines. They encourage you to embrace those unconventional marketing tactics, the kind of things that make people stop and take notice.
Like wacky promotions. Remember the pie company that got into the Guinness Book of World Records?
That's the one. Such a clever way to generate buzz and align with their brand.
And then there are ideas like partnering with businesses that seem totally unrelated.
Exactly. Like pizza delivery and, well, anything really. It's about expanding your reach and maybe tapping into a different customer base.
I'm imagining like free pizza with every oil change.
Here you go. It's about creating those fun, memorable experiences that get people talking.
Okay, but before we get too carried away with, inflatable gorillas and free pizza, the book reminds us that even with the most creative marketing, it all comes down to making it easy for people to actually buy from you.
So true. It's about removing those barriers in the buying process. You can have amazing marketing, but if it's hard to actually buy from you, you're going to lose customers.
The book is really adamant about offering free phone and fax numbers. They say it can make a big difference, especially for businesses that are trying to reach a wider area.
Right. It shows you value your customers' time. And even if your competitor is right down the street, having a free phone number can give you a psychological edge. It's about reducing those little barriers that can make people hesitate.
They also talk about the importance of making the purchasing process itself really smooth and convenient.
Think online options, multiple payment methods, just anything that makes it easy for people to say yes.
And offering gift vouchers, such a simple way to boost sales and get new people to try your products.
The gift vouchers are a win-win.
Okay, so we've talked about making it easy to buy, But what about those promotional materials? How do we make them really stand out?
Well, a well-designed brochure can be a powerful marketing tool, right?
Yeah.
It's a chance to showcase your brand, highlight your unique selling proposition, and give potential customers valuable information.
The book has some great advice on that. They're big on spending time crafting a bold, attention-grabbing headline.
Because that's what's going to draw people in. It's that first impression, and it's got to make a statement.
And it's not just about being catchy. It's about really conveying your unique selling point and using language that that connects with your ideal customer.
Exactly. It's got to resonate. And then there's the layout and design. Visuals are so important. Photos, illustrations, anything to make your brochure more appealing.
Yeah. Break up those walls of text. Make something visually appealing that people will actually pick up and want to read.
Right. And don't forget testimonials.
Yeah.
Including quotes from happy customers adds credibility.
Shows potential customers that other people have had a good experience with your business.
Exactly. And then, when it comes to printing, the book stresses the importance of, high-quality paper and professional printing services.
Yeah, even if you have an amazing design, a cheap print job can make your brochure look, well, cheap.
First impressions matter, right?
They really do. Okay, so brochures. What about getting those brochures into the hands of potential customers?
The book has a whole section on distribution, and they encourage you to be, creative and proactive. Don't be afraid to hand out brochures everywhere.
They even suggest carrying a supply in your car, so you're ready to give one to anyone who's interested.
Be prepared. And then there's letterbox drops. A great way to target specific neighborhoods or areas.
Yeah, reach those potential customers in your local community. And they talk about partnering with other businesses, too, like include your brochures with their mailings.
Exactly. Think outside the box. Where are your ideal customers? How can you get your message in front of them?
Okay, shifting gears a bit. The book has a whole section on building credibility, which is so important these days. It's about going beyond just, marketing and actually establishing trust.
And one of the most, bold moves they suggest is offering a 100% money-back guarantee.
Wow, that's a strong statement.
It is, but it can be super effective. It shows potential customers that you really stand behind your product or service.
It's like putting your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. The book also emphasizes getting involved in organizations that support your community.
Yeah, it shows you're not just in it for the money, right? Yeah. That you care about giving back.
Sponsoring local sports teams, donating to charities, volunteering, it all builds goodwill.
And let's be real, it's good for business, too. People are more likely to support businesses that they see as, socially responsible. Okay, so we talked about guarantees and community involvement. What about handling customer complaints?
Well, the book has a surprisingly positive spin on that. They argue that a well-handled complaint can actually turn a dissatisfied customer into, a loyal one.
Really? I never thought of it that way.
It's about seeing complaints as opportunities to, showcase your commitment to customer service.
Okay, so how do we turn those complaints into positive experiences?
Well, have a clear and fair policy, train your staff to handle complaints effectively, and always strive to exceed expectations.
Go above and beyond to resolve the issue. Make the customer feel heard.
Exactly. And sometimes, just a sincere apology is all it takes.
All right, changing gears again. What about Yellow Pages advertising? Is that even still a thing?
That's a good question, and the book acknowledges that the Yellow Pages aren't what they used to be. But they can still be valuable, especially for local businesses.
So how do you make Yellow Pages ads work these days?
Stand out. Use a bold headline, white space, to make your ad visually appealing, and that 100% money-back guarantee we talked about.
They really love that guarantee, huh?
A powerful tool. They also recommend getting a dedicated phone number for your Yellow Pages ad so you can, track your calls.
Smart. You can actually see what's working.
Exactly. You don't want to be wasting money on marketing that's not bringing in customers.
Okay, now let's talk about something that's, crucial for any business that wants to grow, going out and chasing new business.
You can't just sit back and wait for customers to come to you. You got to be proactive.
The book says one of the most effective ways to generate leads is through direct sales calls.
Picking up the phone and having conversations with potential customers, it might seem daunting, but it can be really, really effective.
So, any tips for making those calls successful?
Preparation is key. Do your research, know who you're calling, and have a clear script outlining your main points.
Be professional, but also natural and enthusiastic, right?
Exactly. And practice your pitch. The more comfortable you are, the more confident you'll sound. And Maybe most importantly, don't be afraid to ask for the business.
It's like going on a date and forgetting to ask for a second date.
Huh, perfect analogy.
Wow.
And even if they don't buy right away, make sure you follow up.
Okay, phone calls. What about the fax machine? Is that like ancient history?
It might seem old school, but the book argues that the fax machine can still be a surprisingly useful tool for getting your message in front of the right people.
So how do you make fax marketing work?
Well, you got to create a fax brochure that's, designed specifically for that purpose. Clear call to action, easy to find contact info.
It has to be visually appealing too, right? Even if it's coming through a fax machine.
Exactly. Make it stand out. People are busy, so you got to grab their attention.
All right, now let's talk about something that can be a really fun way to get people excited about your business competitions.
Ah, yes. The power of giving something away for free. It's a great way to, generate buzz and get people interested in your brand.
And the book has some great tips for running successful competitions. First
Okay.
off, make sure the prize is, relevant to your business and something your target audience actually wants.
Right. Don't give away something nobody
Yeah.
hears about. And don't forget to use competitions as a chance to gather customer data.
Names, email addresses, all that good stuff.
Turn a fun promotion into a valuable lead generation opportunity.
Okay, now let's talk about thinking like a customer.
This is all about empathy, right? Putting yourself in your customer's shoes and understanding their needs and what they care about.
And the book tells this funny story about a business that literally threw away valuable coupons because they weren't thinking like the customer.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic example of how important it is to understand the customer's perspective.
So we should be constantly asking ourselves, what would make my experience as a customer better?
Exactly. And the book gives some great examples of this in action, like using those waiting areas and reception areas to actually promote your services.
Instead of just being, wasted space.
Right. And regularly asking customers how they heard about you.
That's valuable info. It helps you track what marketing is actually working.
It also shows customers that you care about their experience.
Then there's, the classics, offering free delivery and having regular sales.
Who doesn't love a good sale?
And free samples. Let people try before they buy.
It's a great way to overcome any hesitation.
And then there's value adding, going above and beyond with extra services or products.
Making your customers feel like they're getting more than their money's worth.
And, of course, a little gift with purchase never hurts.
It's a nice touch.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different tactics, but one of the things I really appreciate about this book is how much it stresses the importance of, well, thinking differently.
Yeah, it's about challenging those assumptions, being creative, looking for opportunities that other people might miss.
Like, the book encourages you to get inspiration from outside your industry. They tell this amazing story about a struggling dive shop owner who got advice from a consultant who specialized in, get this, high-end boutiques.
Wow, that's a wild combination.
I know, right? And the consultant basically told him to transform the dive shop into a dive boutique, like focus on a more, I guess, curated and high-end experience.
That'll work.
Their sales tripled in the first month.
That's incredible. It just goes to show that sometimes the best solutions come from the most unexpected places.
The book encourages business owners to, look at what's working in other industries and see if they can adapt those ideas.
Be open to new possibilities.
And speaking of new possibilities, the book is big on constantly generating new marketing ideas.
The world of marketing is always changing, so you got to stay ahead of the curve.
One suggestion they have is to use industry publications to collect ideas.
Trade magazines, online forums, they're all great resources.
They also recommend setting up a marketing ideas box where you and your staff can, jot down any brainstorms.
That's a fun idea. Get everyone involved.
And then there's attending industry events and trade shows.
Great way to network and see what your competition is doing.
Okay, so we've talked about marketing strategies and tactics. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked, the role of your staff in building your business.
It's true. Your employees are the face of your business, and they can make or break the customer experience.
And one of the first things the book addresses is that awkward interaction we've all experienced, Can I help you? No, thanks, just looking.
The classic retail dance.
Mhm.
And it's often a missed opportunity to really engage the customer.
Exactly. And the book talks about how to train your staff to be more approachable and helpful without being, pushy.
It's a delicate balance.
And then there's the question of, well, can your staff actually sell, not just take orders?
It's about empowering them to be brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
Give them the knowledge and the confidence to to actually make those sales.
Right, train them on your products and your unique selling points.
And don't forget to ask for feedback, both from your staff and your customers.
That's valuable
It
information.
helps you create a culture of like continuous improvement.
Now let's go back to making it easy for people to buy from you, because this book really hammers home that point.
It's so important,
And one of their big things is offering free phone and fax numbers.
especially if you're targeting a wide geographic area. It can make a big difference.
The book makes a good point about free phone numbers. It says, even if your competitor is just down the street, a free phone number can give you a psychological advantage.
It's true. It lowers the barrier to entry, makes it that much easier to pick up the phone and call you.
And then there's making the purchasing process itself really smooth and convenient.
Online ordering, multiple payment methods, streamline the process.
And gift vouchers, another great way to encourage people to try your products and get new customers.
Gift vouchers are always a good idea.
Okay, now let's talk about those promotional materials again. Because you can have the best ideas in the world, but if your brochures and flyers look amateurish...
It can really hurt your image.
Exactly. So the book emphasizes spending the most time on that headline. It's gotta grab attention.
It's the first thing people see, and it has to make a strong impression.
And then they talk about using visuals to make your brochure more appealing.
Photos, illustrations, anything to break up the text and make it more visually engaging.
And don't forget about testimonials. Including quotes from happy customers can really add credibility.
It's all about social proof, showing potential customers that other people have had a positive experience.
And when it comes to printing, invest in quality.
Don't let a cheap print job ruin your beautiful design.
Now, the book has a whole section on what they call everyday advertising.
It's about being resourceful and finding creative ways to promote your business, in those everyday interactions.
Like, they talk about working with other businesses for joint promotions.
A great way to tap into a new customer base and share marketing costs.
They also talk about Yellow Pages advertising.
Even in the digital age, print directories can still be effective, especially for local businesses.
And they have some really creative ideas, like printing ads on the back of tickets.
For concerts, sporting events, anything where people are going to hold on to that ticket.
And then, of course, there are those budget-friendly options like free local newspapers and online classifieds.
It's about getting the most bang for your buck.
Okay, and finally, we come back to the heart of it all. Thinking like a customer.
Putting yourself in their shoes. Understanding their needs, their motivations.
The book tells a really funny story about a business that threw away valuable coupons because they just weren't thinking from the customer's perspective.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect example of how important it is to understand your customers.
So the book encourages us to be asking ourselves, what would make my experience as a customer better?
Exactly. And they give some great examples of this, like using waiting areas to actually promote your services.
Instead of just letting them be, dead space.
Right. And regularly asking your customers how they heard about you.
That's valuable data. It helps you see which marketing efforts are actually paying off.
It also shows you care about their experience.
And then there's the always popular free delivery.
Convenience is king.
And the book is a big fan of ongoing quality sales.
A good sale is always a crowd pleaser.
And free samples, of course.
Let people experience your product firsthand.
And then there's value adding, going the extra mile to give customers more than they expected.
Exactly. And don't forget, a little something extra, a gift with purchase.
It's those little touches that can make a big difference. Okay, so we've talked about a lot, but one of the biggest takeaways from this book is the power of persistence.
Success in marketing and in business in general takes time. It's all about hard work, dedication, and a willingness to keep going, even when things get tough.
The book encourages you to keep experimenting, learn from your mistakes, and refine your approach. And, most importantly, stay positive.
A positive attitude can go a long way.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground today, but I think we've given our listeners a great overview of the key takeaways from 101 Ways to Market Your Business.
It's a book that's packed with practical advice and inspiring ideas.
And before we wrap up, I want to leave our listener with something to think about.
In a world where everyone is bombarded with marketing messages, authenticity is more important than ever. What's one small step you can take today to make your business more human, more memorable?
That's a great question for our listeners to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It really needs to grab their attention and make them want to keep reading.
Right. It's all about that first impression.
And, it's not just about being clever or catchy. The headline should really tell people what your business is all about.
Yeah, it should communicate that unique selling proposition, right? And use language that speaks directly to your ideal customer.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you want to use visuals to make the brochure more, well, more interesting to look at.
Right, like using photos, illustrations, anything to break up the text, make it visually appealing so people will actually want to pick it up and read it.
Exactly. And testimonials can be really powerful too. Include some quotes from happy customers.
It shows potential customers that other people have had a good experience with your business.
It's all about social proof.
And then when it comes to actually printing the brochures, don't skimp on quality.
Yeah, invest in some decent paper and use a professional printing service.
Because even if the design is amazing, a cheap print job can make it look, well, amateurish.
First impressions matter.
They really do. Okay, so we've talked about creating those eye-catching brochures. But what about getting them into the hands of potential customers?
Well, the book has a bunch of ideas about distribution, and they really encourage you to be, well, creative.
Like, think outside the box.
Exactly. Like, they even suggest carrying a supply of brochures in your car so you're always ready if someone expresses interest.
Always be prepared.
Right. And then, of course, there are letterbox drops. Those are a great way to reach people in specific geographic areas.
Yeah, you can target specific neighborhoods.
Exactly. And don't forget about partnering with other businesses. Maybe you could include your brochures with their mailings or something.
That's a great idea.
It's all about thinking strategically and finding those opportunities to get your message in front of the right people.
Now, let's talk about something that's essential for any business, providing excellent customer service.
It seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many businesses get this wrong.
Yeah, it's one of those things that can really make or break a business, especially these days.
Absolutely. And one of the key elements is speed.
Speed.
Yeah, people expect things to happen quickly.
I guess that makes sense in today's world.
Right, whether it's answering the phone or processing an order or responding to an email, people don't want to wait.
So how can businesses, improve their speed and efficiency?
Well, there are a lot of things they can do, like having a dedicated phone line just for customer inquiries,
Mm.
or using an online ordering system, and having a clear process for handling returns or complaints.
So it's about streamlining those
Yeah,
processes.
exactly. And following up with customers quickly,
Oh, yeah, follow-up is so important.
whether it's to confirm an order or answer a question or just provide an update, that timely follow-up can really build trust.
It shows that you're on top of things and that you care. Okay, I love this next idea of starting your own club.
A club.
Yeah, like a club for your customers.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's a great way to build a community around your brand. Like you can offer special perks to club members.
Perks? Like what?
Discounts, maybe early access to sales, invitations to special events.
I like it. Make them feel special.
Exactly. And you could create like a newsletter or an online forum to keep club members engaged and up to date on what's happening.
It's a fun way to build loyalty and keep people coming back for more.
Now, this next tip is so simple, but I think it's really powerful. Remember your customers' names.
Oh yeah, that can make a big difference.
It's such a small gesture, but it creates that personal connection. It shows you care.
The book talks about training your staff to remember names and use them when they're interacting with customers.
And if you want customers to remember your name, wear a name tag.
Easy.
Okay, now let's talk about following up on leads.
Because a lead isn't worth much if it doesn't turn into a customer.
You're right. Exactly.
So the book talks about having a system for, tracking your leads and following up with them promptly.
Whether it's a phone call or an email or even a handwritten note, right?
Right. It's all about being persistent and nurturing those relationships.
And don't just send out generic messages.
No, you want to personalize those messages. Show them you actually understand their needs.
Okay, this next tip is a little bit, unconventional.
Let's hear it.
The book suggests, bribing your customers with food.
Bribing.
I mean, not literally, but, showing your appreciation with, treats or gifts.
I like where this is going.
Right, like bringing cookies when you visit a client or sending a gift basket to thank someone for their business.
Food is always a good idea.
And they emphasize choosing, high-quality stuff.
Right, you don't want to cheap out.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of different marketing tactics, but I think one of the most important messages from this book is the importance of persistence.
Yeah, success rarely happens overnight. It takes work and dedication.
And a willingness to keep trying, even when things get tough, right?
Exactly. The book really encourages you to experiment, learn from those those inevitable mistakes.
And most importantly, don't give up.
Stay focused on those goals.
Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. It's been a really fun deep dive into 101 ways to market your business.
It's a great book, full of practical advice and creative inspiration.
And before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. In a world that's, completely saturated with marketing messages, standing out can be a challenge. So think about this.
Hmm.
What's one thing you can do to make your business more human, more memorable? How can you connect with your customers on a deeper level?
That's a great question for everyone to consider.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone, and we'll see you next time.